Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamuna Tera Bhalachari Yamuna Tera Bhalachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe Hari Bol, go Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Gopal Krishna Swami Tamini Prabhupada Saityam Yapakasha Vitiracha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschachadeshatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Se Guru Se Juta Padakamala Se Gurung Vaishnavamscha Se Rupang Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadotam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vitamscha He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyaevacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivāsadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, translation and commentaries by our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Perfection of Renunciation, Chapter 18, Sloka number 7. Is that correct? Yes. Niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ karmaṇo nopapadyate mohāt tasya parityāgas tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ karmaṇo nopapadyate mohāt tasya parityāgas tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ. Somebody else?
niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ karmaṇo nopapadyate mohāt tasya parityāgas tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ.
niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ karmaṇo nopapadyate mohāt tasya parityāgas tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ.
What is it?
Niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ
Nityasya sannyāsaḥ
karmaṇo
karmaṇo nopapadyate
mohāt tasya parityāgas
mohāt tasya parityāgas
tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ.
tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ
niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ
niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ
karmaṇo nopapadyate
karmaṇo nopapadyate
mohāt tasya
parityāgas
tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ.
Word for word meaning niyatasya, prescribed, to, but, sannyāsaḥ, renunciation, karmaṇaḥ, of activities, na, never, upapadyate, is deserved, mohāt, by illusion, tasya, of them, parityāgaḥ, renunciation, tāmasaḥ, in the mode of ignorance, parikīrtitaḥ, is declared. Translation: prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Everybody please repeat. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport: work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for the Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended. It is said that a person in the renounced order of life should not cook for himself. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyāsī may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. Niyatasya tu sannyāsaḥ karmaṇo nopapadyate mohāt tasya parityāgas tāmasaḥ parikīrtitaḥ. So in the next 3 verses, including this verse, the renunciation in different modes of nature are being described. And here in this particular verse, it is explicitly, there are 2 words which are having the same meaning. Sannyāsaḥ and parityāgaḥ. That means sannyas and tyaga, parityāga, same thing. Both Srila Prabhupada has translated as renunciation. A renunciation means giving up the fruitive mentality or giving up the expectation for one's own benefit. As we are instructed from the Bhagavad-Gita, we should do our duty and not expect anything in return. If we do our duty accordingly, which ultimately should be meant for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, That is the most ideal action that one should do or should perform. I will read here from the Bhagavad-Gita study notes, where, yes, Lord Krishna uses and equates the words tyaga or parityāgaḥ and sannyāsī, in which indicates his answer to the question, are sannyāsa and tyaga the same or different? It's like in the very first sloka, this was the question asked by Arjuna. Let's read that one, just to remind us. O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyāsa. And here, now we're getting the answer that it is the same, sannyāsa and tyaga, parityāgaḥ. Ultimately, we need to perform our prescribed duties, whatever that may be, because giving up one's prescribed duties without any reason, just to say that you are being renounced, it is not prescribed, that is illusion, or that is in the mode of darkness. Giving up one's prescribed duties. Let's see what prescribed duty says. Work means the work that is ordered in the scriptures and sacred law books. It means standard, prescribed duties. Such work is far better than laziness under the pretension of being a renunciate or mystic. That means everyone has to work according to our acquired qualities and also to the previous birth, how we come to the point where our actions are dictated by our acquired qualities. The activities that we have performed in the past and also the qualities that we have acquired. Was that Chaturbanya Moyasisra Guna Karma Vibhagasa. So each and every one of us, we belong to a certain category according to the social status and also spiritual status that we may be belonging with. In the social status, whether one is a Brahmana, Satriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, or in the spiritual status, one may belong to in the sannyas or the renounced order of life, to vanaprastha, retired life, grihastha or householder life, brahmachari or the student life. The Bhagavad-Gita also says that it is better to do one's duty imperfectly than to do others' duty perfectly. That means we should not try to imitate others if we're not in the category where we think that, oh, we will do better if we are in that category. But if we don't belong to that category, then it is not advisable. That's why it says in the Bhagavad-Gita, it's better to do your own duty imperfectly than to do others' duty perfectly. It is not our duty. Then it is like pretension. That means it is not genuine. The Sudra cannot pretend to be a Kshatriya. He may want to be popular, or he may want to be, let's say, the leader of citizens or a country. unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, it says, Kalo Sudra Sambhava. So everyone is a Sudra. They may have a little bit of quality of others' position, but the percentage of our qualities that we have acquired from the past and the qualities that we are engaged in right now determine on which category we are to perform our prescribed duty. Says here, to earn a living, one can honorably adopt the profession of a street sweeper, but one must not change his dress to the saffron robes of renunciate simply to fill up his empty stomach. Just like, not all of them, it's like in Vrindavan, many are wearing saffron because they know that if they wear this lal kapra, they can always beg for food. Surely you will have something in your stomach by the end of the day. That one will not be empty, having empty stomach. So in the morning, you can see them going this way, and in the afternoon, they're going that way. They're very busy, but just collecting for food. So it seems to be like easy life or lazy life. Yeah. But they're not really sadhus. They just change their clothes. Because it is easier to sustain one's life instead of working hard. Because there's always people who have this, you may say, compassionate nature to the sadhus, to feed the homeless, and so on. So, in the present age of quarrel and pretension, one should prefer to do the ordinary, prescribed duties rather than adopt a life of sannyāsī or a renunciate. Those who are genuinely renounced understand that they must not give up performing their prescribed daily duties in the social order, because otherwise there'll be disaster, plain and simple. So those who are in the renounced order of life, they also beg from door to the householders, but their begging is not food. Their begging is, please become Kṛṣṇa conscious. Actually, they have so much to give, not in terms of money or wealth, but they're the ones who give charity. Real renunciates, that means those who are sannyas in the renounced order of life. What they give is the knowledge of Kṛṣṇa, which is far greater than any wealth can have in this world. So are they really begging? No, they're not begging. Actually, they're more giving. They're not begging that, or expecting that, if they don't give donation, I'll be upset. No, they will not be like that. I just give you an example. The first time when I took sannyas, 10 years ago, exactly, and to this day, I went to the Philippines, and we were traveling and with devotees in a car or in a vehicle. So we ended up one day in a house of an Indian congregation. And it was his birthday, the night we arrived at their place. He was married to Filipina, a native from the Philippines. And so we had kirtan, we had discussion, we had nice prasad. And then the next day when we were about to leave, he was handing donation to everyone, and except me. I think he has forgotten it. to give donation to me. But I didn't say anything. I said, excuse me, Prabhu, I did not get any donation. I think you forgot me. No, I just let it go, and then later on I told to one of the devotees, Balaram Prabhu, that, oh, remember last year we went here, but he forgot to give me donation. So in that way, I kind of like understood that one should be detached to the fruits of one's activities. First time I came to Dubai also, I went there, I was invited. I was the only sannyāsī because most of the sannyāsīs went to Gaur Purnima festival. So after the program, I was handed an envelope. Yeah. So when I received the envelope, I thought, oh, this is very thin. And then when we went back to the flat of the host who gave me that accommodation, I opened the envelope and it's empty. So I did not complain. I did not, because it was a big program. I did not complain. I said, no, Prabhuji, you gave me an envelope, but it was empty. It's not for me to ask. So in any case, my point is that we should not expect results which is like for our own liking or for our own benefit for every actions that we perform. We should be detached. So in this way, we will not feel any anxiety. We will not feel any miseries. Accept this must be Krishna's arrangement that I'm being taught how to be detached, really detached. So the householders are like that as well. They should be, actually the householder, the ashram or the grihastha ashram is meant for a platform whereby learning how to be detached. Even though the householders, they have the license for sense enjoyment, that doesn't mean that they will overuse it or misuse it for their own benefit. And it says here, those who are genuinely renounced understand that they must not give up performing their prescribed daily duties in the social order. So I did not become discouraged, or one should not be discouraged if the expectation that we are wishing to happen is not happening. We should be detached in that way, that whatever Krishna's desire, because ultimately he is the main controller, ultimate controller, that I should be detached. So giving up prescribed duties because of illusion is in the mode of ignorance. One should not give up one's prescribed duty, even though one is not being successful. It's like, even in our movement, we have brahmanas, because ultimately Prabhupada says that our movement is meant to create a class in society which is Brahminical in culture. So we have brahmanas in our movement, but they don't hanker for more and more and more, like a Vaishya. A Vaishya will want to increase one's business more and more and more. He's not satisfied. I met a devotee, he's a real Brahmana, genuine Brahmana. He knows astrology, he knows yagya, but he doesn't really hanker or aspire to be rich by performing those different activities like, reading one's astrology or performing yagya. In Vrindavan, you will meet some brahmanas whom if you ask them to do some samskara, they have a certain allotted amount of donation that you should give. And if you don't give, then they will not do it. So they're expecting something already in return for their activity. This devotee, he told me, Maharaj, I'm satisfied. I'm not going to hunker. I'm not going to put any price. Whatever donation they will give. And if they give donation, I'm sure Kṛṣṇa is the main inspiration from the heart to give me this donation. And I'm satisfied. I'm not going to ask for more. This is a genuine Brahmana. He is detached. He's a grihasta, but he is not attached to the result of his activity. So Prabhupada gave an example here that we have to work for the satisfaction ultimately of the Supreme Lord. It's like he gave an example of cooking. Cooking for the Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food are recommended. But, again, for grihastas, they may have some favorite food, and that's the only food that they would like to offer to Kṛṣṇa. Let's say, for example, the children like pizza all the time, or lasagna, or Italian food. So, in order to fulfill the enjoyment of the family members, then the wife and the husband will always offer to Lord Kṛṣṇa those kind of food stuff. So are they cooking for Kṛṣṇa or are they cooking for themselves? For themselves, of course. Are they pleasing Kṛṣṇa or are they pleasing their stomach? Pleasing their stomach. So that is not proper. That's not proper. And Prabhupada gave an example here also that a person in the renounced order of life should not cook for himself. Meaning, in both ways, sannyāsī has to eat, but if there is no one around, he has to cook, not for himself also. But what if he is not healthy? Because when we are young, we can eat even stones. We can eat anything and everything, right? But when we come to a certain age, we cannot be like a teenager who can eat luxurious or very rich food stuff. We have to be also kind of like choose the proper diet so that we can engage many years in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. If we become neglectful, especially in our diet and to do exercise, then our life will be shorter. So, if he cooks for himself, he's not really cooking for himself. Ultimately, he's cooking for his health so that he can engage more in Kṛṣṇa consciousness many more years to come. That is very important to understand here. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. But here now it's because if one is sick and he doesn't have any assistant, let's say in the renounced order, unlike in the family, children may cook for the parents. When the parents get old, or when the children are still young, then the parents can cook for the children, but not for sense enjoyment. Ultimately, whatever one's eat should be offered first. And it should be variety, not like the same food every day. it'll be boring, isn't it? If you eat the same thing. There's a saying in English, variety is the spice of life. Yeah? The more we have variety, then the more we are going to have appetite, the more our desire to increase our appetite will be there if we see different colors. If we see the same color every day, then how is that going to happen? It's not pleasant. It's not ultimately satisfying. So similarly, a sannyāsī may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. And we've seen this in the very beginning of Krishna consciousness. Our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, he actually performed the marriage ceremony of his disciples. One may say, "Oh, he's a sannyāsī. How can he do that?" It seems to be questionable. How can a sannyāsī do that? But Srila Prabhupada did it for ultimately the spiritual benefit of his disciples. It may be not looking nice, because one who's in the renounced order and then performing this ceremony, one will think that, oh no, how can that be? That seems to be not very, very pleasing. It's not according to custom or the tradition. But Srila Prabhupada did that because he's very, in a sense, you may say, liberal. Especially in those days, he made adjustments whereby the women can live in the temple. There is no such thing as brahmacharini ashram in India. Is there a brahmacharini ashram? No. If it's ashram for all women only. No co-ed, no men. But Srila Prabhupada is so liberal, he did it in such a way that in the temple there is a section where women are staying and there's a section where men are staying. And also sometimes there is some intermingling because of, let's say book distribution or Sankirtan or Harinam. You don't see that in India. Very rare. Only in our society. So he saw that there is a lot of intermingling between the boys and girls. So before giving them initiation, or even at the time of initiation, there'll be also. But the first thing that we've heard is that he conducted a wedding ceremony. Was that the sister of Yamuna Mataji, right? And I believe it's Mukunda and Janaki. That's what we've heard first, isn't it? A wedding, a marriage before initiation is later on, isn't it? So he wanted to make sure that you have to be committed first with each other. Then he gave the initiation. Because if he would initiate them first, and still there's like a little bit of intermingling, then it'd be like a boyfriend and girlfriend affair. So it's sacred. So he did that. That means he's very liberal in that way. Yes, and there's a brahmacharini ashram in those days. There is no brahmacharini ashram in India. or if they want to have, like, they can have a separate place, but that's owned by themselves, but not in the same building or in the same area of preaching. So yes, similarly, a sannyāsī may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. In some so-called spiritual institution, there is a freely intermingling of men and women, and it becomes like free for all. Free love, they call it free love. But it's not, it's like lust, it is more sense enjoyment. So Prabhupada did not do that. He knew that if this is the first thing that he needs to do, and sannyāsī can do that for the sake of the spiritual advancement of the disciples. So this is the message of this verse. This is renunciation in the mode of ignorance. If we give up our prescribed duties because of illusion, it is in the mode of ignorance. If Srila Prabhupada didn't do that, and they just, do whatever they wish to do, no regulative principles, okay, nowadays there's some so-called spiritual institution, there's no set rules and regulations to follow. You can do whatever you like, and if you think I'm God, I must be God. I just saw one devotee, he sent me a video of this so-called guru, and his followers, some of them are around here in Vrindavan. I saw them, many of them. They have a different tilak than our tilak. And they put tulsi, manjari on his feet. During the abhishek, they will also do like, milk, yogurt, different items, panchagabya or something. Panchamrit. And in the end, they put tulsi, manjari, and the lotus feet. Well, even Radharani doesn't have a lotus on her lotus feet. So he's encouraging his disciples, so-called disciples, who are not educated, to worship him and praise him like Kṛṣṇa. He's probably thinking that he is Lord Vishnu or something. Maybe not Lord Kṛṣṇa. He's not that beautiful. He's not that handsome like Kṛṣṇa or attractive like Kṛṣṇa. So this is going on. So this is in the mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance. And he is just copying the books, the purports of Srila Prabhupada, as if he's the one who was giving that words of wisdom or knowledge. So is plagiarism, again, is just like cut and paste. And he's not putting the sources of those information. So many are being cheated in this way. And then the next couple of days we'll be hearing renunciation in the mode of passion and the renunciation in the mode of goodness. Okay, I stop here now. Do you have any question? Any comment? Usually, according to the qualities that we acquired from our previous life. One should not say that, oh, because my father is a Brahmana, therefore I'm a Brahmana. That doesn't work like that. That's what we call caste system. But ultimately, one's duty can be ascertained when one takes shelter unto the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master, because he can tell by your physical or psychophysical analysis, he can tell where you are belonging with. Because if we're not really sure where do we belong, but he can direct us, he can tell us, or even though, let's say, we don't have that qualification, then we become qualified by his mercy. But ultimately, as we mentioned earlier in the meeting, that we are all in the Sudra category, practically. But some of us, we can tell, and others can see that we have some inclination if we are like more Brahminical than a Kshatriya. So ultimately, one transgress all of this, especially when one engages his activities for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And so it doesn't matter which category we are, whether we are Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmana. If we dovetail all of our activities, the results, for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. That's why Prabhupada says, I have not completed my mission, because 50% is the Varnashram program, Daivi Varnashram, whereby everyone in the community will be engaged in certain type of activities, but ultimately Kṛṣṇa is the center and he is the ultimate enjoyer. You will not find that in the modern society. Everyone is working for their own benefit. Devotee is not like that. It's like here in Krishna Balaram Mandir, we have different devotees working in a different way. Some are in the maintenance department, some are in the security department, some are in the pujari department, some are in the cow protection department in the farm. Yeah, we have Vedic farm here. So everyone has their own activities to be performed. But we are all united because ultimately Kṛṣṇa is the center. We want to please Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. And one is not lesser than the other. Or one is not higher than the other. It is not that the pot washer is lesser than the pujari. If no one will wash the pots, actually they're always looking for someone to wash the pots. Like backup. You know, backup. They're always looking, hey, we need Maharaj, we need backup, you know. So how are they going to worship the Lord if there's no pot washers? Yeah? Or if there's no one to count the Lakshmi and, put it in a safe place so that we can spend for Kṛṣṇa more and more. How are we going? If no one is expert in the accounting, what's going to end up? Huh? Where are we going to end up? So they're all like interconnected. If no one is going to cook to feed us, now for free, then how are we going to function? So we're all interconnected in that way. So you'll find your inclination, and if you cannot find your inclination, there must be some indication where you are good at. And if you are not sure how you can be engaged, then those who are more advanced than you spiritually can direct you, or ultimately the spiritual master will know how to where to plug you in. Okay? Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribo.
Maharaj, you just explained right now, like prescribed duties, is this seva, cow protection,
Yeah.
seva. So my question to you is that first of all our prescribed duty is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu.
Yeah, everyone has to do that.
And then seva. So this is all prescribed duties, or prescribed duties only seva? If I may understand.
No. Our prescribed duty ultimately is to be Krishna conscious, but we have to be engaged according to the qualities that we have acquired from previously or whatever we are right now, and to the activities where we are good at. Yeah,
That's seva.
that is seva. But ultimately, a devotee should be able to do anything and everything. What do you call that in English? A jack of all trades or something? Yeah? We should be. An expert, a devotee is expert in everything.
Versatile.
Yeah, he's versatile. He can be, he can be in here, he can be here, he can be here. He can be anywhere. Wherever there is needed service. But sometimes devotees are choosy. Oh, I only do this. They will say, no, Maharaj, I only do kirtan. Yeah, but Prabhu, we need someone to wash the plates, the pots. Oh, no, that's not my prescribed duty.
Maharaj, my question was like this chant.
Everyone has to chant. That is not our prescribed
That is
duty.
not prescribed.
No, that is our means how to attain love of God, is to chant, to hear and chant. But it is accompanied, we have to do action. We cannot just sit down, chant our rounds the whole day, and don't do anything else. Yeah? What's going to happen? How are we going to grow? Someone has to distribute books, someone has to do kirtan, someone has to do puja. We cannot be lazy. This is wrong. Because you have to do your prescribed duty. You cannot be detached in that way. You can say, oh, no, Maharaj, I don't do anything except read Srimad Bhagavatam. How our movement will spread if everyone is just reading Srimad Bhagavatam? Huh? No. You read Srimad Bhagavatam, you chant Hare Krishna, and also you do other spiritual activities like book distribution, Harinam, go to universities preaching, go and help others. Yeah. Okay.
Do I have your permission to ask one more question?
One more question? Okay.
Maharaj, you said that offering to Krishna according to one's own liking is not good.
Well, unless I clarified, unless you are sick. Because you have to eat. When you're sick, you have to eat. And you cannot eat luxurious or very rich food. So whatever you have to eat for your health, you should cook, and you should also offer to Krishna first. But if you're not sick and you can, strong, you cannot choose, yeah?
But how can we know what is Krishna's liking?
Krishna's liking, patram puspam palam toyam, yome bhaksya prayachate. Different varieties. If you are in Bangladesh, then you'll eat Bengali food. If you're in Gujarat, if you're in Ahmedabad, then you'll eat a lot of, Gujarati food stuff. Dokla, idli, yeah, kanvi, right? Or if you're in South India, you'll have a lot of coconut chutney, dosha, idli. Yeah, sambar. If you're in Italy, you must have a lot of Italian food there, a lot of cheese. Yeah?
But is it wrong to offer liking of children, whether it is past or something like that, and it be done Krishna Prasad?
Yeah, in the beginning, the children are children. But once they grow up, it's not the same anymore. Or we should give Kṛṣṇa, just like in Janmasī, what is his favorite? Or Radharani. Was that sabji? Arbi, or Prabhupada's favorite, kachori. So, on special occasions, you cook what is supposed to be in that occasion. Okay, but not every day kachori. Kachori. Maybe. But just like recently, I was just eating, very, like boiled sabji. So I felt like, oh no. But this is good for my health. But then I asked, can you cook something else? Different. Yeah? There is a fine line between sense enjoyment and for Krishna's pleasure. There's a very fine line. So we have to be expert. If we're thinking that, oh, I only want this all the time, that is sense enjoyment. Because you'll get sick and tired of it if it's the same thing every day. There must be a variety. Yeah? Okay, we stop here. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. You're genuine listeners of the Bhagavad-Gita. If we are in the conference hall, maybe. But here is serious Bhagavad-Gita listeners. Thank you very much. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad-Gita as it is ki jai. Hari Hari. Thank you very much.